It's my second time at the summit, and it's just been, I think it's like the core believers, the core people moving and pushing this industry forward. It's kind of where everything starts. It's ground zero for so many new initiatives, and I just love coming here and learning and being inspired personally. The talks and the education is second to none. So it's just, it's fun to see the ideas in this room. You don't see in the marketplace in 2-3 years, but this is kind of where it all starts. So this right here is the mushroom farm. It's a little mushroom kit. You pop it open, and in 10 days, you get your first crop of organic oyster mushrooms right out of the box. So you can throw it in pastas, pizzas, soup, just trying to make it really easy to grow your own food at home. And then this guy was our first ready-to-eat product. It's organic stone ground flake cereal. So it's made with just 3 ingredients. It's the first 100% stone ground U.S. grown breakfast cereal. We used to use some San Joaquin Valley wheat, sea salt from the Bay, organic sugarcane from Florida, and like that's it. Just trying to undo this category. Yeah, I loved just hearing Cheryl's talk about Rebel, and then Greg's talk what he's doing at first at Wallet, now Calafia. Like it's just both those people are just pioneers in the space, and I think are showing you that it's passion and purpose that it starts from. They went from Cheryl from Cliff Bar and Plum Organics to now herbal drinks, and Greg from selling orange juice to now dairy-free milk, and I think it just shows that like. Number one is like, why are you doing it? The passion, the purpose behind like what drives them every day, and that can translate into all these different creative, products. And it's inspiring to me to kind of see their journeys and their stories because they're people we look up to. We came in this movement with no background in anything to do with sustainability or farming. I was actually going into consulting. My friend Alex, I co-founded what was going to investment banking. We're both undergrads in college, thought we knew what we were doing, going down the whole corporate world. And our last semester in college, we were in this business ethics class, and we heard our professor bring up this random fact that you could grow gourmet mushrooms on recycled coffee grounds. And it's like a 150-person sized lecture, and for some reason we were the only 2 kids, didn't know each other, but reached out after class and said, hey, that's kind of cool, do you have any more information? Something about the idea of like growing food off of waste, it struck us both, inspired us both, and next thing you know, we met up, hit it off, started watching YouTube videos, growing test buckets, and eventually said, you know what, forget investment banking, full-time urban mushroom farming it is, and dove into it. Yeah, I think what's so important about sustainability right now is that it's not a question anymore of, is it the right thing to do? It's how do we get there faster? I think everyone agrees the system is broken. You talk about food, the food system is broken. A third of kids born in 2000 are going to have type 2 diabetes. We spend $500 billion on healthcare costs because of our food system. Like, the food system as it is today is not working. I think everyone finally agrees on that. So now it's just a matter of how do we get to a more sustainable future fast enough, and what's the right path forward? And I think that shift of if, now it's not a matter of if anymore, it's when. Just that small shift has been so energizing. I think it's just created this whole new movement of entrepreneurship and energy around solving this. We're so, for us, we're just so inspired by it. And food is the most personal thing there is. You put it into your body 3 times a day. So talk about a starting point for sustainability. There's energy, there's transportation, but food's the most personal thing there is. So if we can't solve that, I don't think we're going to solve anything else. So food is just, I think we need to take it back to how it used to be done, and that's what's driving us. I think that the power of youth is, you can talk about you don't have experience, you don't know exactly what's happening, but just, I go back to like that Dr. Seuss, that playfulness, that ability to question everything and not take anything for granted. That kind of energy, that sense of discovery that I think comes from being young. And I think, we're trying to build a brand around that too, where we're like, it's not talk about what's right, what's wrong, or tell people, educate them. We're going to keep on learning and growing and making mistakes, and we want to create a community that people can grow and discover with us, and the thing is more about discovery and curiosity than it is about preaching and what's right and what's wrong. And I think if we can look at it from that lens, this whole space of just being curious, I think it opens up and makes it a much more inclusive movement. So, we're learning every day, we're making mistakes every day, but I think as long as you're having fun doing it, we can always say, do what you love with people you love. And I think that's the mantra for us. And I think if we can keep on doing that, we'll get to a better place. Transparency is at the core of everything we do. I think it's so important because you look at the word sustainable. So sustainable, that word is so hard to define. And we spend a lot of time about truth trying to figure out how do we define what's sustainable, what's not. And I think we ended up at the word transparency because at the end of the day, we're like, every action we do, every decision we make, we should feel proud enough that if that ended up on the cover of the New York Times, we wouldn't be embarrassed. And I think if you can look at every decision that way of, if the whole world could be in this moment right now as we make this decision and we feel okay about it, it puts you in a different mindset. And I think this idea of transparency, where you know exactly where your food comes from, how it's made, where it was grown, is that next wave in the food space too, where we're going from that second wave of natural organic brands. And I think now that new customers saying, we need to go further than that. I think the third wave of food is about radical transparency, where people want to know, where's your food coming from, how is it made, where was it grown, and there's so much trust that comes out of that. And I think that's what consumers right now are looking for, is just to trust food again. And you can talk about sustainability, but if they can't see it happening, that trust dissipates. So I think being able to show consumers exactly what you're doing is at the base of everything else. The biggest thing I've taken away from here at the summit is it's more like an energy around this sense of community. And there's this proverb that I love. It takes a village to raise a child. And I think that's so true for a business too, or for a movement. It takes a village to raise a business. It takes a community. And I think you leave this summit and you just feel that energy where we're all in this together, and we're not the crazy ones trying to, in the 70s, it was the long-haired hippies, people like, you guys are crazy trying to ask for a better food system, and that's the norm, So what's happening today that people are like, you guys are crazy asking for this better world, and having this community of support around you makes you think, hey, we're not the crazy ones. There's people around us who believe in this mission too, about a better sustainable future. Let's get there together. And I think there's something so powerful about leaving the summit with that energy of community, and that fuels us and our whole team.